Hey guys, it's Smogon Devo here, back at it with another Mirror Cup tournament video. Today we'll be checking out my Twilight Cup. It's 12:30 in the morning. I am supposed to wake up to go to Montreal at 5 in the morning. So forgive me if I am not fully competent or fully engaged with the video, but I'll do my best. Just trying to get this content out to you guys. This time I do have a little bit of notes. As I'm looking at it, it's a little blurry because I'm really tired. But I'll try to read my notes here to tell you why I picked what I picked in the team building, or rather when I'm checking out the opponent's team, I'll be able to explain why I'm using what I'm using. But yeah, let's go ahead and just jump into the team. This is again a pretty standard tournament video. We're gonna look at the team, then jump into the battles, and just give some closing thoughts. So let's go ahead and check out the team. Alright, so this team is pretty different than a lot of other Twilight teams I've noticed. The main thing you'll notice is that it doesn't use either Azumarill or Croak. I found that Clefable was enough for me to substitute both of those roles. So I wanted to build a team without either, and my team pretty much heavily revolved around Clefable, Golbat, and Muck. That was the core of the team, a trio that I use a lot in my practices. At one point I did have Azu and Croak hovering in the Froslass spot, but I found that with Clef I was never really using either, so they were more or less a wasted slot. And this team still ended up having decent coverage for me. Yeah, so Golbat, Clef, and Muck, that was the core. From there, they're a little bit weak to Azu. I mean, Clef can tie, Muck will win, and Golbat, it's iffy, so I definitely needed some more Azu coverage there. Picked it up in the form of Venusaur. Then I needed some ways to beat some of the DPs, so Golbat was helping initially. Tyranitar was also to supplement that. Clefable could help a bit. And I was definitely a little weak to, I guess, Venomoth and Golbat, so T-Tar was great with Froslass. I don't know, I just wanted to make something a little different, and I wanted to prove that you didn't need a Clefable or a Croak to do well in this cup. And I hated using my Venomoth, and I fell in love with Golbat here, so I had to, of course, put it on my team. So let's go ahead and check out the first battle, and then I'll explain my thoughts and my team building. So I end up deciding, I think, Froslass, Clefable, and Alolan Muck versus his team. And I notice my Alolan Muck has 3 wins, so it's decent. Froslass does even better, beating 4 and the Mirror. Really just worrying about that T-Tar and of course the Mirror. Clef also has a ton of positive matches here, so I really liked Frost and Clef together. And then I was just trying to patch out the weaknesses of both of them with Alolan Muck a little bit here. Really that Mirror match was one of them, although Clef could also cover. And I really didn't like using my own Golbat here, but I did still need coverage on Croak. And again, Froslass and Clefable together just really seemed to still patch that out, so I really like that duo. And then I guess again the Alolan Muck was just there to try to patch out their weaknesses. I suppose with those two, Moth could be a little annoying, at least for Clefable, so I definitely wanted some more support there as well, and Alolan Muck once again just kind of filled that role for me. So I ended up deciding on Frost, Muck, and Clef, although I debated on Venusaur a little bit. But what ultimately pushed me away from Venusaur was just that Venomoth matchup. I had a feeling he might try to bring it. And in a worst case, I could try to save switch into my Alolan Muck, so with the Frost lead. So let's go ahead and see how this actually played out for me. So the Frost lead, I forgot to mention it, but one of the reasons why I wanted Venusaur was I was so convinced he was going to lead that Qwilfish, as most Qwilfish players tend to do. So I lead Frost into Qwilfish right away. Would have been nice to have Venusaur for this. Here what I'm going to do is I'm going to build up energy and get out. Or try to get out. I think I can take an Aqua Tail, or at least I was curious to know the damage. It did more than I wanted it to, but now I switch out. And he switches out too into the T-Tar. I'll go for the Dark Pulse, and again, a lot of people make this mistake where they just go for the Acid Spray. It starts to get a bit predictable, but if you go for these Dark Pulses, you can do chunks like that. Muck's not going to stand a chance on T-Tar, so I'll let it go down. Crunch doesn't manage to KO, but these smackdowns will finish me. And now I can bring in Clefable. And now you get to see Clefable saying no. It's going to come in and just slap this Tyranitar out of the match. Those finger waggles. He should bring back in that Qwilfish soon. Yes. I know I can take an Aqua Tail as well with Qwilfish. It just seemed like there's no way this was a Sludge Wave just because of how quick it came out. But I was still a little scared, so I decided to shield the Aqua Tail. And then I'm chipping him down more and more. I decide that I'm actually not going to shield here because I already burnt the one. And then I'll try to finish him off with Tarms, but I get a little impatient, so I go for the Meteor Mash, hoping to at least even out our shields. And I do get it. And then I can get the Simultaneous KO and bring back in my Frostlass with a ton of energy on his. I go straight away for an Avalanche, thinking I can bait him into a Shadow Ball, and of course he has to shield. Now I'm up a shield, and as soon as I get Shadow Ball, I've basically won. There you go. So we take game 1. Alright, cool. So jumping into game 2, I really did want to bring Venusaur. I was so convinced he was going to lead Quill again. But to bring it, I knew I had to leave something behind. And what really seemed to disappoint me was the Alolan Muck. So I figured I would drop that, and then even if he led Tyranitar, I had it covered with Venusaur, which I was thinking he might lead it to try to catch Frostlass worst case. So Venusaur kind of covered both of those things. So he switches out into Frostlass, and I'm going to switch out into Clef. Clef has a pretty good matchup against Frost just because it overwhelms it so much with with this charm damage. Take that Avalanche, and now I just melt it down. I'm gonna shield here because it would faint me otherwise. So I have to lose a shield, but it's okay because I should be able to build up the energy I need to get a Meteor Mash for the target coming in. You see I'm like right there next to it, and now I can get to it. So whatever comes in is probably going to want to shield. Yeah, the Qwilfish decided to shield there. And now I can bring back in Venusaur with a ton of energy, just to really threaten this Qwilfish. Hopefully I get the KO, but we'll see. Yeah, he goes for a shield, and I almost have 2. I shield just in case it's a Sludge Wave. And he goes for another Aqua Tail. So I'm going to just go straight away for a Frenzy Plant to keep Venusaur as healthy as possible. Knock out the Qwilfish, and now let's see what's in the back. It's that Tyranitar. Really great for me. I can get this Frenzy Plant and knock it out. Frostlass didn't see any play here, but that's alright. Didn't really need it there. So there you go, that is the first round of the Twilight Tournament. Alright, so let's check out his team. He's got that Golbat, Azu, Titar, Quill, Skunk, and Croak. Looking at his team, you know, Venusaur has a pretty decent matchup here. It beats 3 out of 6. And what I immediately notice is the things that beat Venusaur, Clef can pretty much handle them. So I really liked the idea of Venusaur and Clefable together. And then I was just kind of worried about Frostlass, I guess. Actually, no. If I remember correctly, I really just loved Venusaur and Clefable, and I couldn't figure out what else to bring, but I knew I wanted those 2 in the back. So, just looking at his team, I ended up deciding I wanted that Frostlass lead, just because Frostlass can do crazy things if it's positioned properly, and I wasn't too mad about losing it, even still, because I was confident in Clefable and Venusaur, just holding them in the back to deal with the rest of his team. So let's go ahead and see how that actually played out for me. Also, forgive my voice if it sounds a little weird. I've been recording voiceovers for like 3 or 4 hours, so my voice is starting to tear a bit. Here we go, we lead Frostlass into Golbat. Perfect. That's probably the only thing I would have genuinely been afraid of with the other 2 as well. So he brings in Azu, and now I'll just swap in Venusaur. And from my scrims, I know I can take an Ice Beam. I don't have to shield the first Ice Beam. And I love hearing stuff like that because I don't like to be the first one to have to make that decision of shielding or not. I'd rather my opponent make it first so I can kind of gauge the match from there. So there we go, I get that first shield. And now I'm going to have to shield if I want to get to my Frenzy Plant, my second one. But here we go, I get to it. Really close, I almost didn't make it there. And that's going to knock out the Azu, and now I can maintain a switch advantage as well. So let's see what he brings in. He brings in the Golbat, knocks out Vina, but it's no problem because Frostlass has a ton of energy. I farm a little bit more, and then I go straight for my Avalanche, and now we get to see what Golbat decides to do. He does shield, which is good. He switches out into Skuntank, so I'll just stay in and go for an Avalanche. And then I'll actually switch to Clef to try to finish it off. Yeah, there you go. The power of Charm just cleans up so many things so well. And that's how you should typically be playing it here, I feel. Like, use it to clean up, and then you get that slight bit of energy you need to build to your charge move. I'm not going to burn my shield because I can win with Frostlass. Poison Fang hurts though. But I can actually get to a Meteor Mash, which is great. So Clef is going to just knock out the Skullbat. Clefable says no once again. Alright, so jumping into the next match, I was a little worried about an opposing Tyranitar, I think it was. So I decide to lead Venusaur instead of my Frostlass. I had a feeling he was going to try and lead T-Tar. Or even Azu to try to counter my Frostlass from previous. But yeah, he actually leads Azu. So this is great for me. I'm going to go Frenzy Plant first this time. Now we get to see what Azu tries to do. And I have Clef in the back, so even if I lose Vina, I don't have to worry about T-Tar. You can take the first Ice Beam, so try to keep your advantage. Get that Frenzy Plant going. Take out the Azu, and we still maintain switch advantage. Golbat comes out and knocks me out. I got a shield over him and Frostlass. Bring in that T-Tar. I'm gonna shield just because I don't want to even risk a Shadow Ball. I wasn't counting his moves, but I just don't want to even think about it. And yeah, it is a Shadow Ball. We CMP tied though, so I have my Avalanche ready. Let's see what he does. Get his final shield. So this time he switches out into Qwilfish pretty quick here. But he has no shields, and I can just go for my Shadow Ball. I think I can farm down the Quill. Ooh, just short. But it's okay, I'll farm it down with the rest of my Powder Snows, and then there's no way that his Golbat should get to a Shadow Ball before I get to my Avalanche. Just because I was able to farm up the Qwilfish in the end there. Ooh, but he might actually have a Poison Fang. And it's just short of KOing. Frostlass hangs in there. He gets me this Avalanche. I don't know what would have happened if I didn't have the Frostlass, if it was Clef, but yeah, that was a very close matchup there, and we take round 2 with that. Alright, so he's got a Croak, Gardevoir. I was really tripping out on whether or not this was a Charm or Confusion guard, so that was messing with my head a lot. But yeah, he's got the Croak, Guard, Tentacruel, T-Tar, Golbat, and Muck. I had a little bit of trouble figuring out what to bring. I ended up deciding on Frost, T-Tar, and Clef. I knew Clef and T-Tar had perfect coverage across this team, which is really great. But I couldn't really lead either because they were too valuable. So similar situation to the former round where I wanted to preserve both of those, and I just didn't really know what to lead. I ended up deciding that I would end up having to lead Bat or Frostlass, and I really expected a Croak, Bat, or Muck on his part. So yeah, I ended up just picking the Frostlass because I didn't want to mirror into Bat, and I was okay with Frost taking on Croak and Bat, and even to an extent the Alolan Muck. So Frost was just pressure in my lead, and then my T-Tar and Clef should have perfect coverage on the rest of his team. So let's go ahead and see how it actually played out. Alright, Frost lead. Let's check it out. Yeah, he brings out that Muck. This was the worst case for me, but it's okay, it's not really a bad position, and I knew it was, I think it's 8 or 9 poison jabs to the Dark Pulse, so I counted and swapped out. He also Acid Spray, which kind of sucks, but I'm alright with this. I can do a ton of damage with these charms. And, you know, at this point I feel like Clef has definitely just done its part, so I'm going to let it go down. And now I'm debating if I bring in the T-Tar or the Frost again. But I choose to bring back in Frost and just farm him down. He switches out at a really good time, so I end up using an Avalanche into T-Tar. He burns a shield though, which is a mistake in my opinion. Then I go for a Shadow Ball here, and I'm in a pretty bad position. Because I made that switch earlier, so I'm locked into this. Yeah, so I bring in my T-Tar now on his. I'm gonna shield just because I feel like I have to keep my T-Tar healthy. I shouldn't have shielded the crunch though. Take out T-Tar, his Alolan Muck is pretty low in the back. So it really just comes down to what he has right now. If he brings in Croak, it's GG. He brings in the Croak and I can try to go for this crunch. Oh, I do have Stone Edge by the way, if you guys have been following the practice videos. Took me a while, but I have it. Unfortunately, Tyranitar goes down, and then Frost is just too weak to do anything, so it goes down too. Very stressful position to be in, because now I have to come back from a loss and just reverse sweep him. So I figured that Frostlass was definitely the issue here. I didn't need it. I wanted to keep Tyranitar and Clef, and I wanted to try to beat out that Alolan Muck, so I follow my original gut, and I decide to go for the Bat lead instead of the Frost lead. And this is good as long as I can land that Shadow Ball. I overcharge a lot just to psych him out, and then I go Poison Fang. Don't get the shield. I'm not going to shield either. He'll probably Acid Spray anyways. Now I go again for a Poison Fang. Really just trying to mess with his head, and I'm hoping he thinks that there's no way I won't Shadow Ball this time. And yeah, he does shield it, which is good. He switches out, which is unusual, so I switch out too, into my Clef, and now Clef's gonna say no. Just delete this Tyranitar. And I'm up a shield, which is great. Now he brings in the Alolan Muck. I shield, even if it's an Acid Spray, I want to keep Clef a little healthy. So he gets the Acid Spray, but I should be able to chip him down with Charm. Clefable says no, and then can launch this Meteor Mash into him. Yes, and then I have Golbat in the back, and he's forced to burn this shield. Clef just savages him. These charms are really helping me. Golbat has the Shadow Ball ready, and this should be enough to knock out Croak. And there we go, we take the second round, or the second game of round 3. So for the next one, I'm still very adamant on Clef and T-Tar. And now I'm really worried about what he's going to lead with. I figured he would definitely try to counter my Golbat, and he wouldn't expect me to lead Clef. So this time I decide to lead Clef, and he was trying to beat out my Golbat, or possibly even my Frostlass with that T-Tar lead. Leading into Clef is very bad for him. And now I can switch into T-Tar, finally a good opportunity to bring it in. And this is a good matchup for me, I'm not going to shield at all. Dark Pulse or Acid Spray, it does not matter. And I should be able to farm up a Stone Edge. Oh, I go for the Crunch, I guess, to be safe. Knock out the Muck. Now let's see what he brings in. The Croak, to be expected. It looks like a little bit of lag, so I do stop tapping to give him an opportunity to catch up. It looks like he caught up there. I asked him at the end if he wanted to redo for the leg, but he felt like it wouldn't have changed the match too much. Because I do come in with the Golbat here, and now he's completely defenseless. There's nothing Croak can do to Golbat. I can pretty much just farm him down. I go for a Poison Fang just so I don't have to take another Sledge Bomb. Knock out the Croak. Now I bring back in Clef to finish off his T-Tar. And yeah, I can shield this now. Again, I did ask him if he wanted to replay the match. That leg was definitely visible, but he felt that it wouldn't have changed the outcome of the match, which I do agree with. But yeah, there you go. That will be round 3, and we'll take that one as well. Jumping into the final round, this team really tripped me out for a while. That Cantonian Muck was really messing with my head, and I wasn't quite sure what he would bring. But that Venomoth, Azu, Croak was something I heard a lot about, so I was really over-analyzing, and I think it almost cost me the match. A little bit of forewarning, I got a call for our second game, so my recording stopped, and I didn't realize. So I asked him for his point of view for the battle, so we'd be looking at his point of view for the second match, or the second game in the final round. But yeah. I don't have my notes for this team, but I know I ended up deciding on Frostlass, Venusaur, and Clefable. Looking at his team, I can see a decent opening for Venusaur, at least on Titar and Azu. And then Clef should beat out Skuntank and Toxic, so I'd really just be worried about that Muck and Venomoth, I guess. And then I was hoping my Frostlass could cover it, so I had a balanced comp versus his team, and then I was just hoping to line things up properly. I love leading Frost, and I thought it would be a decent lead as long as I don't catch that Tyranitar or Azu. So we're going to see how that worked out for me. Let's get into it. So we lead the Frostlass again with a Venusaur and Clef in the back. That Cantonian Muck, I don't even remember simming it. I don't think I did. So I was kind of tripping out. I knew it's set, so I was just trying to guess what he would use. He leads Titar into my Frostlass, which is horrible, so I'll bring out Venusaur to counter that. And he brings in Moth, which is kind of what I wanted. I wanted to bait out the Moth. So I get this Frenzy Plant. I didn't mean to switch in Clefable though, so I made a little bit of a misclick, but it was the same effect really, just to bait out the Moth. Just to see if he really had it. And then I can use Clef or Veno, whichever one survives at the end. He does shield, which is a little curious. I don't think he needed to do that. But now I can bring in Frostlass, and Frostlass can take a Silver Wind or a Poison Fang from full. Luckily, I call the bait correctly, and I don't block that Poison Fang. I am going to block the second move though, just so I can farm him down a bit more, because I know Titar is coming back in. Goes for the Silver Wind, and now I'm farming him up. 3 confusions. He switches out into Titar, which was a mistake in my opinion. I go for an Avalanche accidentally into the Titar, and then I can switch into Clef. And because he made that switch, he's in a really bad position. Now Clef is going to just say no to this Titar. Knock it out. I got a shield up and he has 0. Clef is almost at a Meteor Mash as well. Brings in the Cantonian Muck with no shields, and it's not going to have a good time because Clef has that Meteor Mash. It's going to do a ton of damage. Basically knock out the Muck. I'm definitely going to let Muck knock out Clef at this point, so that Frost can get a little bit of extra energy. And now as long as I can push to that Avalanche, we can successfully take this match. There you go. And I still have the shield to spare. Great. So I'll take the first game of the final round. And now we're actually going to, again, we're going to switch to his point of view because I wasn't able to film this second round here. So here we go. He's going to lead a Titar. I decide that I figured he's going to lead Titar again, and I was really confident in that. So I wanted to lead my Clefable. And he does lead his Titar into my Clef. And I have a game plan here. I am fully anticipating that Venomoth to come back. But he goes into the Cantonian Muck, so I'm going to switch into my Frostlass. And I didn't know how much energy he actually had at the time. I go for an Avalanche here. He got a bit greedy, if you're looking at it. He doesn't shield the Avalanche, which is very interesting. My plan though, I didn't think I was going to win the same way as I did last time, so I wanted to preserve both of my shields just so that I could have a Clefable knock out his Venomoth at the end. So I let Frost go down, I choose not to shield at all. And now I think I bring in Venusaur to try to farm him down and lock in that Venomoth. So my whole plan is just to be able to keep both of my shields for Clef to just knock out the Venomoth and then deal with his T-Tar in the end. So I'm not going to shield at all no matter what he does. And I managed to knock it out before he gets a Thunder Punch. Now he brings in Venusaur though, or Venomoth. And immediately I go for my Frenzy Plant to start putting on some pressure. Frenzy Plant takes it out. Nearly, not really. Now I'm going to try again, and I'm just trying to pressure him as much as I can. He may have been worried about the Sludge Bomb coming in. And yeah, I do get him to actually shield it. He was really worried about that Sludge Bomb. But now he has a ton of energy, and I switch out Venusaur quick, just to make sure he couldn't get any additional energy at all. I wanted to make this as close as possible to just Clef coming in and denying everything he can do. So I blocked the first Poison Fan coming in, and he's low enough so that I can get a nice amount of charm damage, and I blocked the second one right away as well. Had I actually kept Venusaur in, he would have got one more confusion, and this would have been a much different match. But look, that's one, that's two. He might have been able to undertap had he gotten that extra confusion, so it's really good that I switched out. And now he brings in T-Tar, and I have a Meteor Mash. He's forced to shield. Didn't have to do it, but I figured why not. So we get his final shield. I just Moonblast. And now here we go. Clefable says no one last time. Look at this just melting down the T-Tar. So close to a crunch. And there we go. We take the final game of the final round. Yeah, so that is going to be my Twilight tournament. I didn't expect to win that final match there. I think I got a little bit lucky with him shielding those moves. Just put him under some pressure and it worked out for me in the end. I really had fun in Twilight, and I was really happy with my team, especially that it was able to do so well without an Azumarill or Toxicroak. Aside from that, I am exhausted. It's 1 in the morning. I'm waking up in 4 hours to go to Montreal. I can't edit these videos tonight, so you guys are going to get them a little late, unfortunately, but I'll try to work on them on the train ride. Man, I'm so drained. I don't even know what my voice sounds like right now. It feels like completely torn, but it was still fun to record all these videos. I miss doing this kind of stuff. So, with Mirror Cup now officially done, I do want to give you guys a little bit of an update for the month. I did plan to get you guys out a ton of cliffhanger content, but we're about half, we're like 2/3 into the month at this point. And I don't really have many practice videos that I recorded. I've just been busy with a lot of other stuff right now. So what's going to happen? I don't know exactly what's going to happen. I think I will be able to get you my cliffhanger tournament possibly. I'm not even sure about that right now. We might just be taking a break for the rest of the month after this. Get ready to prep for the Sinister Cup. By the way, that was announced and I will be covering that. Hopefully we can get back to our normal schedule. I'll try to get a meta-analysis out for you guys, a nice breakdown again. Really excited to get back into that and do those nice confusing arrow charts for you guys. So I'll be making a meta-analysis video definitely for the Spooky Cup. I'll try to upload my cliffhanger tournament. I haven't even done my first round yet. But yeah, otherwise for this month, I think we're going to be on cooldown. Again, I'm going to Montreal tomorrow. So I'm going to be very preoccupied with that for the next few days, and then when I get back, I have like 5 days straight of work, so I don't really think I can do much more editing or anything this month. I am doing a few things with a Ghost Stadium right now as well, kind of behind the scenes, so I'm not completely inactive. I know I said I was going to try to give you guys some content for the month, but time constraints, there's not a whole lot I can do, unfortunately. But don't worry, next month we're going to come back strong. I'm going to use the rest of the month to try to rest up a little bit. And yeah, just stay tuned. Hopefully I can get you that cliffhanger video. Maybe I'll try to do a little bit of Safari stuff, no promises. But yeah, that's going to be it for me, guys. I'm really tired. I gotta head to bed. I'm waking up in 4 hours now. Got a Red Bull ready to chug just so I can make it to my train. Yeah, so if you liked the video, drop a like. Give me a comment as well, sub to the channel. Follow me on Twitter. I'm always there, or Discord. Yeah, nothing else to say. Take it easy, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Get hyped for Spooky, or rather Sinister Cup. I don't even know if I called it Spooky Cup earlier. I'm mad tired. Yeah, just take care, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.